repeat it? Repeat what the question is, brother Josh.
Yeah. I'm asking if I'm asking what the confidential information was, and I figured it was just because of the stuff you were talking about on your last podcast. I didn't know if it was that or it was a conversation I had with Grandmaster Crowley.
The confidential information.
Yeah.
Yes, the confidential information is it's philosophical. It it,
Oh, okay.
it it's confidential in that it's simple ethics, and it has that courtesy towards others about simply being able being it's about being someone that others can confide in those
Gotcha.
moments when they share experiences that they don't have to share, but they feel it's beneficial to the society, to the fraternity, to other brethren and sisters, because they've some reason, from what they've heard, to believe they can confide or share some personal things. They can talk about what's happened on their job or in their family or relationship or marriage in a meeting for the purpose of making a point, and feel free doing that because no one in the meeting is going to take what's being talked about to others outside of the fraternity and discuss this person's business or share that story with someone else without permission and
I
type of
think
stuff.
I understand what you're saying because I've always actually kind of been interested in psych. I'm actually thinking about getting a job being a peer support specialist. Um,
Congrats.
so, yeah, I mean, I know what you're talking about. Like, sometimes random people would used to come up to me and just be like, hey, man, do you know where I can get this? Or, hey, man, I feel like shit and I need someone to talk to or whatever it be, you know?
Yeah,
I
that's a
mean, like, because I was at a PRP, psychiatric rehab facility, and, like, I just found myself being the leader. Like, I mean, I could just, like, look at somebody and probably guess what their mental, quote unquote, mental illness is, and digest that. And that way, I mean, like, because I can totally, like, sympathize and empathize um, as far as psych goes. It's actually a funny Discordian thing. I thought it was hilarious. It was just talking about, like, well, if you know you're crazy, then that means you're not crazy. Isn't that crazy?
yeah, I
You know?
agree. The crazy thing I think it to be is that we talk about stuff and we have to word it in a certain way because some people are meddlesome and they like to
Yeah, definitely.
misconstrue
I hear that.
information, and actually I personally don't blame anyone. I don't think their intention is to misconstrue anything. It's I
Maybe
think
it's something that's
they're
just how they are, and that's like they're just oblivious to the idea of like you were talking about, like as far as like social things go.
yes, and how, brother Josh, that is impacted by social media in this modern age. I think
I
that
hate the internet. I don't even like. I mean, it's cool because I like the Discordian stuff and a few other pages, but it's like I went like a year without really getting on the internet. I just was like, fuck it, I mean, it's not like beneficial, but that was at the time. But I think it is beneficial in a certain way because as long as people are still out there pushing positive information out on people like science or stuff like that, then people. I think honestly, I'm kind of thinking that like I would go with being a pantheist because I feel like there's too many funny words associated with God,
I agree.
and so it's like you know, like if everything was God, then people would be happier. They'd be like, "Oh, cool, this is God. I'm shaking God in my hand while I'm playing the maracas or whatever."
Yeah,
So,
Yeah.
where do you like? I mean, like, when you are a Mason, because I mean, I was curious about like going from solo to being in a fraternity, but I want to learn more first, and I was just curious about it and like how like to go about that and everything.
Um.
If you don't mind.
Well, it's
It's not an urgent thing. It's not like I really, really, really need to be in a fraternity. I'm just curious.
yeah. It's weird, brother. A fraternity. You know, there's a lot of different individuals, but there's this one unit. It's like basketball, football, and anything else that has a team. It looks just like a team. And you know, so example, the Los Angeles Lakers. You know, if
Well, I don't
if
want
there's
to
a basketball player who's
support, but
a star basketball player,
right.
but he or she is drafted to sign to the New York Knicks, they can't wear the New York Knicks jersey and join the LA Lakers team just because they can play really good basketball, right? So the teams, the units, they do matter in society, and there is no individuality there. It's proven on an in person, face to face basis or a personal basis, something besides social media or something like that.
I
So
have a
yeah,
question.
it's just like that in a fraternity. It's something that's already designed for some individual who can fit that design that it is, based on what it has to offer and what it requires for members. That's the confidential thing we talk about. That in
Okay.
reality, it's nothing confidential about it. It's more about
Yeah.
our custom and our manner and the way that we are organized. That is to
Mhm.
confidentiality to allow people, virtually anyone who's not a part of it, just because they're not a part of it, that builds up, the base word for confidentiality, secrecy, mystery, curiosity, questions, wondering. A lot of that when we're just on the outside looking in. The majority of the globe is not in Illuminati. And so the majority of the globe is casting the
So you're saying being outside looking in, I can still be a Discordian grandmaster?
That's what we talk about, yes. Is that these things are things that make society thrive as a whole. We are those who believe in higher mysteries and higher knowledge and wisdom that
Yeah, yeah,
join.
me too.
And yeah,
I was
so
actually
we're
gonna
those
ask you, as a
ones.
doctor of metaphysics, like, what's like the what would be like something you would say to a beginner that wants to feel what spirituality is?
I would say um, whatever there is for that individual to do as a schedule or an agenda, or regime in personal practical day-to-day life, start to use that information conscientiously, filter through it and find, the words that are just worded differently but resemble in context a lot of what oneself thinks as well. And based on that, accept those words and in the order they are arranged in, though they might not be the same. But because the goal is for something that's internal, something that's transcending, and
Hmm.
something that's metaphysical.
When you
Uh,
say transcending, what like the first thing I think about is like something from above coming down over me and
oh,
like
that's
just kind of like
descending.
I don't know how to explain it.
Well, that's something descending, but transcending is something more of internal. It's more metaphysical and
Wait, I got it. I just thought of it. I know what transcending means now.
yeah, it's someone who just gravitates towards what we have
Huh.
learned all through our lives in school, in a general way, with regard to science, theory, the planets, the size of them, the shape of them, how fast they move, the weight of them, the mass, the matter, the atomic compound, molecular perspectives or aspects about, anything under the sun. People who,
Damn.
who gravitate towards those kinds of questions are transcending, and that's
Huh.
not something I want to be held to. but that's majority what has been the opinion of people who are predecessors, those that have pioneered in that field prior to the ones that start to do it, afterwards. They majority percent will think that there is a trait of transcendentalism in a person in general, no matter what that person's professional walk of life is. If that person gravitates towards possibilities in the universe in the very, very naked eye logical way, that really does constitute real questions and not rhetoric or sarcasm.
Huh.
But the universe, no one can be without question. It's like you. It sort of reminds me of when you mention God and how many different weird names there are for Him. There's a lot of weird, philosophies about the universe, and that has a lot to correlate with the way they use the words of God. But in that, within going deeper in where you went with God, in mentioning God, it's the same in the universe he's created. There's a lot of weird interpretations about the solar system and the planets and all that, humanity and where we've come from, as well in that same respect. And so, someone who has those questions, and not like just cast those names of like different names of God and all that, but really ask questions. Those are transcending persons, and it
Huh.
might be a little bit of transcendentalism in there, but it's transcendentalism all the way. And it might be a lot of it, but it's still transcendentalism either way. Everything has a max and a minor, like a volume button. There's a minor and there's a max, and so
Is that the same thing as? Hold on. What do you call? Shit. Fuck it. I forgot.
but the fraternity, uh, we do a lot to help other people. We have good minds and good souls and spirits and hearts in
Hell
us.
yeah.
But people, we as well included in that, people, we're in an age where we're using technology, social media and stuff, and it is actually a profession. It's really not your leisure social platform. It's really a machine, you know.
I was wondering what. Let me run a question by you.
Sure.
Um. So okay. If I mean, like, if you're a Freemason, is it possible to get a degree in psychology,
Yes.
or like without having to go to school?
Oh, now that's a good question because that's exactly what I do as a Phi Theta Kappan in my college Greek organizations of joined college. That's why I continue to work with those lectures because I'm transcendentalist enough to just keep pushing, like we say in Illuminati, forward ever, backward never. I keep that in mind. I've been that kind of person, but I've started to uh, to to really embrace the way it's said in the Illuminati Brotherhood Society because though those words are familiar, those words in this fraternity, I'm not familiar with how well that works. But what I do, why I study so much, brother, is because I believe in real estate and I believe in advanced percent credits to people who can't afford things, and don't have the will to carry any currency or to other type of money. Um, and it's like a favor. It gets really governmental and like an original, like from the founders, the framers of the Constitution, etc. It gets into the Declaration of Independence philosophy.
I always wanted to read the Constitution. I never do it though.
Well, it gets into because a lot of them have been Freemasons,
Well, if you don't mind,
founders.
I thought that there was one part in the Constitution that was saying that, like, if something is wrong with the government, then it's up to the people to fix whatever's fucked up.
Yeah, that's like what democracy means. The people rule. But
Yeah.
the complicated thing, the complex thing is that of people, some of us, and this is opinion, it's not a fact, but that's what
Okay.
catches us is we try to imitate ourselves through the reflections of others, and that's not reality. It's kind of very psychological. So
Yeah,
it's very
I'm kind of
sublime.
going with the reality of the idea of reality is what you can get away with.
Yes, I like that. I've never heard that, but I like that because of what I'm experiencing from people in general as an Illuminati or an enlightened Mason, as is
Uh
another
huh.
word. And just asking questions, are you
Sniffles.
Illuminati? Are you? And it's like it's simple. If you
Shot.
see me present it, then just go along with that. But they have to be given compassion because this world is full of professions and media is a profession, and they don't have that conceptualized. They have it as something that's recreational because they've access to it and they can see a lot of other people, and they know they have access to it, and we commute that way. But they're very in the sublime about the fact that that is a profession. Media,
That what's a profession? Just being on the internet and hustling?
well, no, being in front of people in public is a profession. That's appearing.
Oh,
That's
I kind of
technically
like that.
me too. That's technically appearing. And a lot
Word.
of people don't correspond professionally enough with public correspondences or sponsors that are in public when they are in public, and they try to though, and they don't have an idea that they don't have a network, they don't have the resources, the connections like us, they
They
don't
don't
have.
have the idea that they don't have any ideas.
That's right, they don't transcend. They don't transcend, and they've not. That's not. That's half and half. They don't transcend, as in my opinion, because I don't know realistically that human body does not transcend, and I personally would disagree if that body said, hey, I don't transcend, and that's why I do that. I would beg to differ with that person, and offer them to just change perspective about
Yeah,
what
so
they're
would I.
doing. But
But
that
for
gets
me, I'd
hard because with
probably
the
just say a word like randomly just to get them to try to like wake up. I'll be like if somebody's just like saying something to me, like I fucking hate it, man. Like I'll put it this way. I was going to this like psychiatric place. Just it was a day hospital, and this motherfucker was like, I mean, well, you know what? Actually, never mind. Fuck that. I'm not gonna say that because I'm on a different path again. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind.
well, the thing is,
Hey, so listen, I'm curious about you, man. Like, what do you do for a living?
for a living, brother, I um I collect real estate percent advance receipts. Um, I I also acquisition positive real estate properties for current conquistadors or owners or most or majority percent merchants holding the property.
Huh?
Um, I as well manage my commercial public radio personality over 100% scale commerce here in Florida. Uh,
Okay.
I'm a independent music record label owner. I'm a music producer, recording artist. I've six self-produced records that
Sorry, dude.
play.
I didn't mean to offend you.
It's
It's
okay.
just you made me laugh because like I sometimes I rap when I'm coming back from like a pot dispensary, and I'm like I just like sometimes I was actually like with this one kid. He was so into hip hop. It's funny, and I was like rapping like awesome. And he was such a douchebag. He wouldn't even tell me like, dude, you're awesome. Like I mean, like there was this one time I was going down the
He
highway or
might
something,
have
and
been under the over. He might be overwhelmed by a celebrity. That's what I'm learning to accept as a member of the fraternity. Is when people don't come correctly, I
come
transpose my
correct.
interpretation to, well, that's that way that it looks on television when you've got
Yeah,
Michael Jackson. You've got people fainting, they're not happy, they want to see Michael Jackson, they go see Michael, pay like however much it costs to get in the concert, and then faint to go to the emergency room, the ambulance picks them up. That's the reality about how people react to us. I'm
well, hey
learning to
man, like,
accept.
did I do anything to offend you? Did I
I
offend you
know.
in any way?
No, sir.
Okay, cool.
But
I
that's
gotta
what.
say, because I don't want to fucking, I don't ever want to have to go to a hospital ever again for psych shit.
Well,
Like,
I've seen that before. That's why I mentioned it. I've seen it on television. You know, presentations about Michael Jackson when he was
but
living.
that's like crazy. Like, the thing is, like, if you don't realize you're crazy, you're not ever gonna stop being crazy.
Yeah, we just have to. A lot more people need to gravitate towards the illumination of
Yeah,
this
getting a
world.
grip, getting
That's
a
it.
fucking grip.
That's it. Instead of trying to identify and be very
Stupid.
professional with knowing all of the branches that are stemming out and all the things that are causing things, just get a grip, because those things
Yeah.
happen anyway. They've happened to people before we were born. They've happened for centuries. Our world is not going to change those things when it comes to ancient fraternities like ours with people in it that just want to see those ancient things continue.
Honestly, do you think that like Adam Weishaupt was the first Illuminati, or do you think that maybe like it started a lot earlier? Like I can't remember any of the names from the Illuminatus trilogy, but there was like something about like um, it like dated way back before Weishaupt, and they brought Hash into the whole system and everything. Like I thought that was cool, but I didn't know if it was true or not.
But what happens with Vice Hop is that because when the letter W is pronounced and it's in the German language, it's actually the sound of a V instead of a W. Um,
Huh?
what happens with Weishaupt is that he too is an Illuminati. He's the first one who founded Bavarian Illuminati, and
Right,
that's
right,
that's
right. I knew that.
distinct because Bavaria is in Germany. He didn't make Bavaria up. He didn't make Illuminati up. But what he made up consists of Bavaria, culture, or whatever, and Illuminati. Well,
Yeah,
so that's where Weishaupt's claim to fame is. It's not the verbatim terms. That would be so ridiculous. Illuminati is about Illuminati is a person who believes, and it can be used singular or plural and not change. It can still be Illuminati and still be singular or plural. But an Illuminati is a person or persons who believe themselves to have the ability or the gift, rather, of illumination, discerning, transcendentalism, higher thought,
well, I
philosophy.
mean, I know that Illuminati means enlightenment.
So, yes, Weishaupt was an Illuminati among lots of others before his time, but none of them created a secret society that members,
Oh, okay.
if they did, those are societies we're not in by choice. The one we're in and we're learning about takes us to Weishaupt. It's coincidence, if you will. It's
Huh?
not like a direct, a direction per se, out of a representation of what's just our whole world. It's choices that
Yeah.
we've made
So
in the world.
I was kind of getting into Weishaupt a little bit, and
He became a Freemason a year later.
and I was curious. He's what do you say? Man, you over me. Oh shit, what was I gonna say? Give me a sec. I remember. I read somewhere that Weishaupt, um, he he said that Jesus was the Grand Master. I don't remember where I got that info, but I definitely read that somewhere.
Yeah, it's possible, of course, but it doesn't have anything to do with Illuminati. As to say,
I just
Weishaupt
honestly,
creates it.
I like the idea of Discordian Illuminati. I think it's fun. I think it's like kind of like relieving. I think it's you get to the point where you're like just a goofball, you know? I mean, who
Yeah,
doesn't want happiness and laughter and everything, you know?
yeah.
I used to be funny as shit, and then I changed, and then I met Grandmaster Crowley, and then like all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm a holy Discordian Pope, and then it just kind of like bombshelled in a rolling ball and just started gaining momentum and shit like that.
It did that for me too.
Sometimes I actually I'm like, why am I even doing this with the whole Illuminati or whatever thing? And
The thing is, what I look at it as if what I've learned, I became a holy Discordian Pope. I thought, what in the world? I've heard the name, I've seen it, I've heard about it, but now someone's giving it to me. It's totally different from me reading it. Now I got to figure out what it has to do with the person I am,
yeah, because
and
like
I've
the thing is with
accepted.
me, I'm like I was always like, yes, I love this fucking Illuminati shit, but then like sometimes like my mind kind of drifts, and I'm like, well, what if I wasn't anymore? And I was like, but it always comes back to me being like, yes, I totally do want to have this lifestyle. I don't know
Yeah,
why I keep like, I don't know why I keep being like, maybe I shouldn't have done this because like, I mean, that's like a problem of mine. I don't want to like double guess it or be like, oh no, I shouldn't have done this. I like genuinely want to be like in this lifestyle,
the truth,
but
I
like
think,
sometimes I'm like, you know, like just I don't know. I mean, I guess like maybe it's kind of like um, the world's so fucked up, and once you're awake, you're like, holy shit! Like,
Yeah,
it's like I don't want to be awake anymore.
yeah. But what I do is remember those that have done it. They've grown older, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, grandmasters or supreme masters or whatever. And I say, well, if they've done it, I'm sure they've had their 30, 40 years in life too. If they can do it and they're still here, not committing suicide, I've got to be able to do it. Not just because of my own inner will, but because they probably have set some stepping stones along the way since I'm following this same way. That's also going to help me. But it's further ahead than where I am. So it takes some patience and perseverance to let the scale of where you are and where you become successful in the fraternity, let it pan out over your entire lifetime and not like try to complete it or understand it and conceptualize it all right away and
Would
then
you
still
say
have
that
forever to
looking at
still
it
live.
as would you say that looking at it as like a lifestyle for the rest of your life, like that seems to me like that would probably be the best way to look at it.
Well, it's because over your whole life, you're talking more about your practical needs and things as well as your entertainment or in a fraternity or an organizational society. It's your eating, your health, your nutrition. Over your whole life, there's no way to cover that up with something else in the same life. Life is
Like
more
honestly,
important.
like I didn't even like if I would have went to college, I probably would have definitely joined like Skull and Bones or something.
Yeah, I've been wanting to join Skull and Bones as well. Yeah.
It's not that it's dude. It's so much easier than anything else in my opinion.
But I'm educated enough in the fraternity to know that Skull and Bones is virtually in any
George Bush was in Skull and Bones.
it's in any aspect of the fraternity. Uh, when it comes, Skull and Bones is under Freemasonry, but then again you've got the
So it's like
mixture.
a pseudo. So it's like a pseudo society.
Yeah, I say it because the talisman I'm wearing right now, on the back of it, it has Skull and Bones. So I want to join Skull and
Oh
Bones, but
man, dude,
I'm aware that
I
it's
wanna get
seen in
like
a lot of other
one of
places.
those. I really wanna like get one of those. I like your necklace that you wear and some of your pictures with the all seeing eye with the circle around it.
Yes, the
That
talisman.
is dope. That is so cool.
That's the Illuminati emblem.
It's
It's
so
not
cool,
like
man.
anything like Freemasonry's emblem, but the complication is that some Illuminati are Freemasons, and some Freemasons are Illuminatis, and then there are some who are just one and not the other. So you've got an Illuminati, you've got Illuminatis, and that is it. But then you've got some in there that are Illuminatis as well. They're enlightened Masons. They're also Freemasons. So there's no way
All
to
right.
tell that individual, well, when you're in an Illuminati lodge or temple, you can't ever breathe any philosophy that's coming from your Masonic lodge. You also attend across town because this
I'm
human being
curious
is taking the
in
information in. There's
masonry.
no way to tell that person they can't take what they learn in life ahead, further with them. So we end up learning an integration of Masonic Illuminati tradition and customs with our ceremonies, our rituals, education, and a lot of history is begun
Dude,
is
you don't know how bad I want to like be able to be into ceremonial magic, but the problem is that I know that I have a thinking disorder, and I just fear that if I had to think of something during a ceremonial um, practice, that I might think something strange. Like, okay, so I'll put it this way. All right, so you're walking down the street and you think in your head, I've got to go to the bar to meet my friend. In my mind, it's like this: I gotta go meet my friend. I basically think in urban dictionary terms. And it's weird because it's hard because I'm like, I think maybe your thoughts really kind of shape your reality, and I think thoughts are power, and in that sense, you're like, well, shit, I mean, maybe I can think better, and maybe I can think my way out of this, or but
well
then
the
when you,
thing with that
but
is the thing with that is, brother, when it comes to a word, power, for example, use the word power. Let's go with power. When it comes to power and words, and they are powerful and things, and yes, we can feel that. That's a difference. That's different from us
Thought so.
using that philosophy and trying to explain things to others using that. If they don't understand it, then ask us, can you explain it better? We've got to be able, with the power we feel, to be able to break it down when necessary. And that's how to show that it's power. We have to have used the power of distribution in society to whatever power we have in order to prove if it's power, it's got to be distributed among people so that it is proven to be power. It's not just say of mouth, I have got power. We've got to see it. We've got to see you share with us take it, us do what we want with it, invest it, watch it turn up to a good crop, come back, say thank you, say you're welcome, say brother, sister, love you, and then we can say, yes, you've got power. It's not just saying power, it's got
I
to
like
be
that. I like
distributed.
that.
It's got to be distributed. If it's a charm, the
Kudos.
charm has got to be distributed to be charm. If it's
Yeah.
intelligence, we've got to distribute it. So that's what our fraternity does, what Illuminati does. It distributes the knowledge of the society, and people mistake that for being distribution of the knowledge of this
Yeah,
world, of
I'm
the
sure.
planets and the universe.
I don't know. I'm starting to freak out now because you said, "Are you sure?" But yeah, yeah, I think so. Definitely, yeah.
It's just people are excited and they want to learn to survive, but the casualty is the cost to learning. A lot of them have bypassed that and have learned some mishaps have happened
Definitely.
because they've not followed the method. It's like martial arts. You can't do martial arts if you don't follow the method. If you don't grab this person where you're
Oh
taught to
man, I
grab this
saw you
person,
doing
it
that. I'm
doesn't
like, I
happen.
could picture you being like a fucking ninja, like to protect yourself,
You
like
know?
fucking
Yeah.
kick somebody in the head.
That's how Illuminati. That's how fraternity and sorority members should be, in my opinion. Because the wide open public tries to attack us all the time, physically, verbally, emotionally. It happens to every order or fraternity that exists that I'm aware of, and it happens there. Furthermore, for just professionals, newscasters, broadcasters,
Sure, man.
DJs,
Oh, sorry, I
talk
just
show
was
hosts.
like thinking
Everybody's
about it
getting
again, just to be
backlash.
sure for sure. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. Yeah.
So it's coming along with the territory. It's
Ah,
not something that should be taken personal. It's something that should be taken as a reaction of to a professional performance when a person sees us and they don't really know how to act and they don't say the right thing and it does offend us. We've got to understand they don't understand. They've never been taught that we've been taught
uh,
to organize the way we speak. They don't know that.
oh God.
So that's what Freemasonry is beneficial to me for. It teaches me foundation, balance, and discipline, so I can get into deeper societies, talk controversy like Illuminati. You know,
That's so
Illuminati's
cool, man.
way past
I like.
Freemasonry.
I think you like when I think about you. I'm actually like, wow. Like this guy has like some skills. Like like from you with Freemasonry. Not only mentioning that, like the whole thing, like with with the thing you said about uh like some you were doing like Tai Chi or something. I
Oh
was like,
yeah,
that is dope. I was like, how did he learn so quick? Like, whoa,
yeah, I do. I
shit.
take day to day. I stay day to day. So often my days are me alone or with one or two people in
Day
a
to day.
day that have something to say or I speak to. I actually live a day, just a day. I don't go 30 days at a time to next rent payments and next couple weeks to payday. I don't sweat it at all. If it was up to me, I would not work. I'd be retired at 44 years old. I wouldn't be caught in crisis about charity. I wouldn't be
Dude, I
still
feel
trying to
the
work
same
and
way,
give to
man.
people.
I'm fucking almost 40, and I'm like, you know what? If I do not sell, no, better yet, I will sell at least one book before I die.
Hey, me, I want to do that too. I really want a book.
Yeah, maybe we could like collab or something.
I don't want to write the book. I want a ghostwriter.
Okay, you want
Yeah.
me to ghostwrite you?
Well, yeah. I want a ghostwriter and a publisher. Yeah, and do a book. I don't think
That's
I want to
cool.
sell it though. I think I want to just give it away.
Yeah, I'm on the tip of selling it, but I mean, I could still do it though.
If someone wanted to buy it, I would let them buy it. But I would just, if the box came today, a
We
whole
we could
stack of
like
them, I'd
print
give them
like
away
50.
instantly.
We could like print like 50 copies or some shit, and just like walk around and find people that you see that like that you may look at and be like, you know what, this person looks like they could use this.
Yeah. The big thing for us to learn is how to stay happy about the book instead of turning concentration towards getting the book to someone else.
Yeah, I've actually just been writing a book.
That's what I'm like. I have to keep. I need learning. I need to learn to do that better. To focus on being happy about what I do instead of seeing when I do
Well, dude,
something good,
seriously,
I
fucking
reflect it to
write in your
people.
start with a journal, man. That's what I did. Just start with a fucking journal, and it might even end up turning into a memoir. You know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah,
like that would be my advice to you. Like, if you really want to write, start with a journal, and then like get like a marble notebook, and then once it's done, go back and read it, and you'll be amazed, man. Seriously, like, because I did that before, and I like about like 6 months ago, I read this book that I wrote. It was a bunch of poetry and shit, and I was like, damn, I can't believe I didn't do anything with this. And then I thought, like, well, it's so fucking old, it's not relevant anymore. But at the same time, it's like it was really good, man. I'm not trying to be like all egotistical, but I mean, like, yeah, I'm pretty proud of some of the stuff I've written.
yeah. Congrats.
Yep.
I about egotistical. What I started to disagree with lately is that whole thing about boasting, and I wanted to almost uh, posted it to invite people to a meeting so we could talk about boasting because these days, for a while now, it's been boasting's not polite, it's disrespectful, it's not courteous, and it's not bad, it's not good manners and all that. It's like when I was little, we could brag and boast, of course. And I'm I'm
Yeah, what's
I'm
wrong with
pro
that?
for bragging. It happens in football, it happens in
Why can't you
basketball.
do it with fun though? Like that's
Yeah,
my side of
people
you. Like,
because when the people who make rules give us rules, and they're in the middle, like the mediator or the referee. We're on one side and we're okay with them making rules and we're okay with the rules, and then on the other side, people are not into rules. They're in that platform where the rules
it,
are
honestly,
because they
dude,
have
I
a
feel like
their
people
agenda
are
is to war.
jealous of people like us. Like, I think people are totally jealous. Like, you know what I mean?
They're jealous, but it's ignorance. They simply have not delved deep enough to understand the same opportunity in this world is available for them. They're not less or more as a being than anyone else. So it's ignorance, though. The jealousy is sublime because there's more to it in the bottom.
So,
That they
okay,
aren't.
hold on. So, when you say that jealousy is sublime, can you emphasize on that?
Well, sure. There's this is it's just it's everybody's got what they need. People are upset over things they want. Everybody wakes up in the morning without a remote. No one controls it. Going to sleep, waking up. So, theoretically, brother Josh, I like to say as a metaphysician, the human body will say when we interact and we make sound, we think we're talking, we're using our mouths, our throats get sore after a while, our jaws get sore, we talk a long time. We know we're talking. But actually, when you really feel where your pulse is on your neck or your wrist, when your body's pulsating like that, it's important to understand and conceptualize the fact that the body is making a sort of movement, a sort of a jot type of move when it's pulsating,
Uh-huh.
and there's a chance that at least a little murmur from a being who's had any source of nutrition in their entire life within them at the moment to have murmured some sort of common sense for another human being, versus have to be like audio loud and clear and all that
I
vocabulary and
like how
everything.
you said common sense because I always connected common sense with the idea of being down to earth. Those two just kind of like roll into
Yeah,
one for me.
I agree with that too. I agree with
Cool.
that too. We're in an age where people are following computers and AI though, and
Oh
that's
God,
not
I
down
know.
to earth.
I'm not scared, but I'm scared.
Yeah, that's not down to earth, and that's what's scary about it. They have a good grip, but their eyes aren't open.
Their eyes aren't open, and they need to realize that if we're making these AI, don't make them fucking smarter than you.
Right, because that's impossible anyway. So psychologically, don't feed more into computers than to your own fellow man and humanity.
Right? Like what
So
the fuck?
that's where our complications are coming from. People who they really aren't inclined to where we're inclined to. But instead of letting us enjoy what it is, they have so much to say about it. Now, the where we're caught at is what is knowing that it's totally ridiculous to entertain that or to
Well,
think of them as telling the truth or being accurate about us, knowing that that's simply from the outside looking in. And that's why they have to be given their proper respect as well, no matter what they say, because they
you mean
have the
you
right
think
to say
other
it.
people, like the sheeple, should be looking outside looking in, or are you saying people like us should be outside looking in?
Where we are as well. We're the same. We're on the outside looking in somewhere. You know, I'm a music
Yeah.
producer, but when I go to the doctor for a physical, I can't produce a record there and run the entire unit. I have to sit there and listen, follow instructions, and so that's when that doctor or nurse is in the studio, there's
Uh,
no, they have to listen to the way I work. So we're always on the outside looking in somewhere. We have our strong area and our weak areas, and that's just natural. There's no reason to beat down the negative or the weak side and just want a strong system. A
I
strong
like the
system is
idea
also one that
of
can identify weaknesses. That's like a cybersecurity sorts of philosophy. A strong system can identify weakness. So
as far as that goes. I like honestly like I like the idea of having like the best offense is a good defense.
yeah,
And I'm struggling with the idea, like, and I got that from a band called maybe you heard of them, Dilated Peoples.
that's how the fraternity is. We're not really working for ourselves in the fraternity. As a fraternity itself, we're working with our fellow members. So, like with the property of distribution in this picture, I'm doing Brother Joshua's work, and Brother Joshua's doing my work. Doing Grandmaster Crowley's work. With the more people we get to learn and know in this fraternity, the better
Now,
sense things make about society because we play a lot of positions as people, and that web, that network comes in very handy when we're
yeah,
stuck in the walls of the fraternity until later on. We don't spend 24/7 in a lodge or a temple. We
sure.
spend the time in with our parents, our family, our friends, our pets. So the more we get connected with other people, the better dialogue we can start to develop, and then we
I
have a
hear you,
smoother play.
totally, dude. I'm really wanting to meet up with some people that might let me in their tribe, and that way I'll finally actually have a friend that's not a complete douchebag.
Yeah,
Because I had this friend named Matt, and he was a bitch fucker dickhead, and I was I was friends with him for like roughly almost 10 years, and like the second to the last time I saw him, he was like, I don't trust you, and I'm like, what the fuck? Are you serious? And like even like we would go to bars all the time. That was like our relationship was alcohol, and I was talking to him, and we were at this bar. These girls were so bombing, dude. They were hot as hell. And I told him, I was like in front of everybody. I didn't give a shit. I was like, I love you, man. And this girl gave me a free drink, and I'm like, but like this kid, like what the fuck? Like I've made the same mistake twice about trusting people that were what I thought were friends, but they aren't. They weren't. They just weren't. And if they were friends, it was something like they would just be so annoying that I'm like, dude, you need to chill. Stop fucking mumbling. Stop fucking getting up and singing. I'm like, just stop it. Like, I'm like, so like, whatever, man. Like, I mean, I can't be around somebody that's like super flamboyant and shit. I need a chill tribe. That's what I need. I need like a group of people that I can hang out with and like maybe even talk about stuff like we're talking about to a certain extent, you know?
yeah. Well, the concept about distribution, I will mention it again because well, we cannot control other people. That's just the way
I'm
it
not
is,
trying to. I'm
right?
not. No, 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 no. I'm not trying to control anybody. I'm just saying,
Well,
like,
I don't mean you
I
personally.
mean, even if I did control somebody, I wouldn't dominate them. I would just, whatever.
Well, we've got to figure out when a person doesn't seem like we're not saying what is nice for us. Well, we've got to do the rest of our work. Because what's the easy way? The easy way is I'll meet you 50-50. I'll meet you halfway. Or I'll do my part in the relationship. If I'm good, then you be good. If I'm
I don't
bad,
think
then
there's anything wrong with matching though.
well, it's nothing wrong with it. It's just not, but that has nothing to do with reality or fantasy. It's a lot of ways we could say what's good or bad, but that's just about virtue. That's not
Okay.
got to do with the cap on your life when you're dead, right? Whether you are reincarnating, what your state of mind is. That's something we've all got to keep in our
Yes.
own, close grip. No matter how many different ways we can interpret what we're going through, we're destined to pass away, and we don't know what time that is going to be. It could be 20 seconds from now, brother.
I know, right?
Right? So that's the cap that we've got to get a hold of. And it's getting complicated because it's troublesome to figure out whether getting a hold of it on this end, on the
Ooh.
personal end, is the way to
Sorry,
get it,
but I had to.
or if getting the grip on it is on the other end, where people are needing an understanding or more clarity and stuff. So when a person says, "Hey, man, you know what? I don't think it's gonna work out." Fine. That person said their hive. That's not the story. I've still got another hive to go. I've not said, well, maybe guess what? Here's that 50 million bucks I was telling you I didn't have earlier. I went and got it just for you. And that person might change their mind. Well, you know what? It's after all going to work out, mate. Right? But
Yeah,
we're
but
not
that's like so
telepathists.
fucked up though at
We're
the
not
same time.
telepathists, though. We don't have the keys if we're looking for the purpose of making an answer or making some solution. We can't live that way. We have to face the cost for living.
We have to what?
We have to face the cost for living,
Okay, now
right?
you got my attention again.
So
What's
what we
that
have
mean?
to, so the cost of living is someone, of course that makes sense to at some point in time say, hey man, that's not the right doggone way, right? 50 times you were right, but today you're not right, mate. Well, okay, so forget the 50 times before. About those 50 times and this 51st time, let me let you in a little bit on how I've distributed information over the past 51 takes, mate. You know, Give me some examples of why you say that. Give me some specific instances where I've done that and it's made you feel that way. No, I'm not saying I did that, but when I did it and it made you feel the way you feel, because what we'll end up doing is getting down to why you feel the way you feel, which we will find out has nothing to do with me nor anyone else. That's the
Huh?
profession of true, analysis and things. People don't want to go that deep, but dedicated people do. And so that's missing when we're listening to our friends. We're really not working to figure out what they say to make it make sense, even if it is "I hate you." If it's
Can I ask you a question?
since it's a friend, we should work to make those words make sense so that we don't point the way at a friend. We don't let words choose our fate. We ourselves, again, are in control. Like you said about computers and machines, don't build as well as machines. I don't suggest anyone build their relationships stronger than them, because then you're able to handle whatever you hear. You're the creator, you orchestrate this thing. And that's what being a leader and being in the Illuminati is building in a person, is
You
the
know what?
ability
Like,
to
I'm
be a
glad you
leader.
said that because, like, I've always been a leader. Like, my mom even used to tell me all the time when I was younger. She was like, "Josh, you're a leader," and I just didn't really ever take it that seriously. Because, like, sometimes, dude, like when I read Principia Discordia, I literally felt like it was written for me.
Me too. I love that book. That's the way I wish I could write. Like it's never old. It's never an old book. And I don't know how they do that. It's so like
It's
an
so
ever
it's
revolving
a
type
riddle. It's a fucking
book.
riddle, bro.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
it's really nice to read. This is not hard on the eyes or hard on the nerves. It's easy to read because there's some connection to be made in the outer world outside the book while reading the book.
Yeah,
And
yeah, hell yeah.
it's the way they word it. It's someone who's really been in society. They've thrived
Dude,
in the
have you
community.
seen that
They're
video
not just
that
an author.
explains Emperor Norton? Have you heard it? Have you seen that yet?
I haven't.
Oh shit, it's hilarious, dude. He's like, it's all about him, and I just find that like so like amazing. Like, I mean, like, cause like it inspired me to like freaking write a letter to the president about like how all of us feel about democracy or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, like, you can write to the president, like you can. I was thinking about doing it. I just gotta like make sure my words are professional before I really send it off. I don't know. I mean, I know I'm gonna write a book. That's all I know. I'm totally gonna write a book. I have like 3 pages so far, and I just started like a week ago.
Yeah. Well, congrats.
It's fiction. Thank you.
Welcome.
What about you, man? What other projects are you gonna put yourself through?
Starting the Bavarian Illuminati Lodge,
Oh, cool.
542. That's based on time and experience with older members, superiors, those that have granted me membership, like Grandmaster Crowley. The 8 circuits of consciousness I got from Grandmaster Crowley. That's why I made such a, I stretched those
Ah,
circuits
damn it!
out.
That pisses me off because I have Prometheus Rising by Robert Anton Wilson, and he
Mhm.
goes through the 8 circuit consciousness system. And like when you look in the book, it sucks because you can't really see the writing that well. And I was like, as soon as I first started getting into this culture, I was like, oh shit, man. And I was looking, I'm talking about you, and I was like, damn it, like because when I first started, you were already on like a lecture 4 out of 8, and I was like, damn it, I want to start at the beginning. So that sucks because I really want to fucking understand that kind of 8 circuit thing.
Yeah, it was nice. It still was nice. But like I say, I stick to a student. I don't try to do the independent endeavor, step out Illuminati guy. I stay commercial as if the Illuminati's commercial company. I
Oh,
keep a position. I like a position
I
and to
always
accept
feel like I'm more
assignments.
underground. For some reason, I just feel like my knowledge that I've learned so far, I'm more underground than like commercial, but I'm both. So,
Yeah, the Illuminati is going to be commercial because of the profile of people that are in it across the world. A lot of them
who do you
are.
think's gonna win in the fucking presidential election?
I don't know, but I was about to say a lot of Illuminati's are politicians. A lot of them are influencers. You know,
Yeah,
so it's gonna be. It's not like you're signing into commercial industry, but the special effects, the illumination that you're gonna experience is commercial. It is commercial in this fraternity
that
because the
makes sense. I
fraternity is
think.
different from just
I
Illuminati
mean,
itself. Illumination, right?
yeah.
Illuminations a lot different than the Illuminati organization. It's got to have some commercial respects in it because we have sponsors. People can shut this down. It's what Vice Ops learned. Uh, it can be shut down. This happened in Germany. The governor Theodore elect shut down all secret societies in Germany and Bavaria, right? And that can still happen today. It can be shut down. So we have to have a professional rapport. We have to build a rapport with people, whether they're in a fraternity or not, because our fraternity is sponsored by people, and they don't have to be in it. They could be in it or not, but they've got the money. And people, be them Illuminatis or otherwise, still have to have basic needs to survive as human beings. Where these things like Illuminati or Freemasonry or whatever it is, they can never be more important than our personal lives. You see, those personal things in our lives are what the members who are already on the other side of the gate are expecting to be blessings to them for enabling another member to come across the gate. It's not that person once they're in the gate. No one cares about another brother or sister because we're siblings. It's the person that person is, that heart, that is the useful piece, the component, the integratable chip.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah. So we can't get outside of our foundations. In other words, the Illuminati is not an intimidation. It's not a big monster over anybody or anything else. Just like you said about the machine, we can't build things more stronger than we are. We can't do that. It's not possible
Well, we
anyway.
can do that, but
I
we
doubt it.
shouldn't do that.
I don't think we can. I think we can build them stronger than a portion of us because we've divisions in our world,
Oh hell
population.
yeah! Honestly, dude, like I feel like for
But the intelligence
the
to that is lying in the
the
person
masses
just as
are gonna
well.
be dumber. The masses are gonna be dumber than the people that actually have an intellect. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and they're going to be the ones that are going to be like, oh, yeah, my AI is going to clean my room for me. And I'm like, I swear to God, if you make these fucking robots smarter than us,
Yeah,
it's not going to end out well.
yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's true. But I think that's already happened. You
Please
know,
don't say that.
I haven't seen one in anyone's house, but the design of them doesn't promise much more than soon they'll be in a house because they're like
But you know
dressed
what, man?
up
I'm
and
totally down for, like,
they look
joining
like human
you
beings.
guys,
They look
joining
like human
us.
beings. They don't even look like steel, metal, iron robots. They look like people with skins. Like
I know, right?
so.
Imagine how many like fucking pervs out there would be like, "Oh hell yeah, I'm gonna fucking get an AI slut," you know?
Yeah, but what they don't understand is from the cerebral, from the brain out. That is the portion that people are trying to be concerned about liability or legibility, frankly, for an AI. Well, we've got from robot to flesh like AI. That's where all of that has taken place and manifested. So what they need is an appreciation for the physical being, the brain, and as much as they do the mind, the body.
I mean, if you hand it to people like scientists, I would trust that way more than somebody else that's just gonna be like a commercial entity that creates the AI robots, you know?
Yeah, someone wants to say, hey, let's dissect one of them, see if identical to the being as it looks on the outside is to the organs inside. Let's see, you've got the pancreas there, the liver, okay, goes there, and the intestine. Let's see in the inside of them. Let's do
Yeah.
some forensics. So no one's delving that deep, and they're all
Like there
falling.
should be like a reset button that just like
Yeah,
knocks it out, like
yeah,
that in case it started like kicking your cat or your dog when you're away at work or something, you know?
yeah, right. I think eventually it might get that way, but us chances
It
are,
scares me, man, like because I'm like, damn, like when I was a kid, I always said like there should be another Woodstock, honestly.
yeah,
And I mean, if we don't do something together in a positive notion, it just I don't see anything getting better. Like it sucks. Like fuck. I'm like I've been suffering like my whole life and like finally been feeling better lately and then I'm like, oh well great, now we got the AI fucking shit coming on. I'm like, I don't wanna fucking deal with that. Why do we need AI? Stop being a dumbass and clean your fucking house yourself.
yeah.
So
Well, we see the difference in those attributes in people when we see some people are into Illuminati and some people aren't. Some people are into cooking and some
hey,
people
well,
aren't.
more power to them, but I
Yeah, they're
still
gonna do
really
their
always
thing.
wanted to like from when I was like fucking like okay, so I like was probably about 18 or 19 and um I read are you familiar with Robert Anton Wilson at all?
Yes.
So I read him, I read Cosmic Trigger 1 and like I started freaking out like in a certain way if that makes any sense. But so I started talking to this guy. His name's Michael Benner. He wrote a book called I think it's called Emotional Intelligence,
Ah.
and I talked to him for a while, and like he sent this thing to me from Robert Anton Wilson, and he was saying, "Well, it's kind of interesting when you get online and you look up porno because you're really just masturbating to a bunch of little pixels
Absolutely.
instead of like an actual person."
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I
Right
thought that
there on
was
the
funny.
front of your device when you're not looking in the color tube is there's just that clear panel that's showing your face as a reflection. Sure, that's exactly what you're doing.
Wait, say what about my face reflecting?
Well, the device itself, we're not talking about the network, but the device itself, there's that the reflection panel on the front of your phones, you know?
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, we're always looking at ourselves as well as the color tube. It's also a device there sort of kind of subliminally just hanging around in our hand or
I
somewhere.
was like so surprised because like when I started getting into Robert Anton Wilson, I was like probably in my 20s, my early 20s, and I didn't know about him, but it was weird because I could have sworn I felt something that would have reminded me of Robert Anton Wilson, and I didn't know who he was at the time, so I was like, like, I mean, I have this feeling, and it ended up meshing up with Robert Anton Wilson, and I was just like, wow, you know, like, I mean, this is crazy. And I was talking to that guy that I just mentioned, and I was like, you know, well, I mean, like, I ended up like in I was in a psychiatric hospital for a while, um, and when I was there, I realized I was Illuminati, and I just was like thinking, oh well, if you're Illuminati, you have to believe in God or something. And I started getting into Sufism, and I actually practiced Sufism for a little bit, um, but not that much enough to like really get into it. It was just kind of like a beginner's guide, but yeah, like I don't know if I like that, and so I was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Maybe I'm a mystic. Like sometimes I feel like I'm a mystic in the sense that I am one with infinity. Not to mention like what I am now. Like I like right about now, I would like to say that I would like to experience spirituality, but in my own way. Um, Instead of like picking and choosing, you know what I mean?
Yes. Well, um, one thing about the fraternity, eh, you've got people in the fraternity from 50 years, 63 months, a year, a couple weeks. There's some people that have been in this world have been born a long time ago, that are in this fraternity, and it takes a lot to excel without their fellowship. So I think the best thing for any Illuminati member to do is to, as with regard to growing or
Sure.
seeing some result, is to go according to the curriculum, the superiors, those that are our fraternal family members in the fraternity, to as well as we would our biological, if you will, family members or support
I
system.
got you. Yeah, like actually, the first time I even came in contact with secret society shit was this guy. I was at my local bank and I was having problems, and this guy's just like, "Hey, bring him in here." And I noticed right away he had a Masonic ring, and he said he was like, "Do you believe in God?" Like that. Well, that was a different section. Well, hold on. Let me rephrase that. Okay, so like I saw his Masonic ring, and I was like, "So what's that about?" And he's like, "It's about relief. It's about brotherhood." I was like, "Okay, cool." And then I ended up seeing him like a couple months later, and it was at this 7-Eleven, right? And
Hmm.
I was like, "Hey man, what's up?" He's like, "Do you believe in God?" And I was like, "Well, not really. Like, I kind of had something else going on." But the funny thing was, like, all of a sudden later on, um, that 7-Eleven turned into a bed and bath type thing. Like, no, not bed and bath. Like, it was like this place that sold mattresses. And I couldn't help but feel like maybe I had something to do with that. Like, that's why he changed it up. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't think it has to do with believing in God and stuff, though. It itself, those are like key points. Say, hey, what we like for a person. If you're joining, we hope and would prefer these things. This is what we prefer. But that's not your shape as a member. You become something that's totally clerical or otherwise useful to people, not just admirable. We're not just like models with like jewels or lapel pins or regalia and emblems. We have to do jobs too in the fraternity, whether people understand it or not, to get a full benefit or full fraternal experience. So I stick to the information that is given to me that talks about principles and what we believe, what we don't believe in, what we protect, what we don't protect, and that's what I drill to myself as a way to balance Illuminati in general, just the word. Since I joined an Illuminati organization, I definitely go off of that information to dwell among the Illuminati, in the
I
universe.
kind of can relate to that because, like, as far as Illuminati goes, being that it's like, yeah, this is chill, man. Hell yeah, enlightenment. Woo!
Because we're
But then I'm
transcending.
like, but
We're
then at the same time, like, I'm like, with Discordian Illuminati, I'm like, oh well, fuck yeah, man. That's just a whole new version of being Illuminati, you know?
Yeah, it's like looking at a Grand Lodge or something. You've got Illuminati, and then in Illuminati, there's so many different houses that is still
Yeah,
Illuminati. So no one can really get bored, but it's if they really have the time or energy to go into it that far, to pay that
yeah.
much attention. Yeah,
Damn it,
and
man. Like,
yeah,
I gotta tell you, man, I'm starting to think that, like, going the route that you route, going the route that you have seemed to be going from what I've seen, that, like, maybe I want to go from solo to, back and meet up with people in fraternities and shit.
I'm going to.
But I don't want to jump into it though. Like, so please don't like say the wrong thing because I'm not 100% yet. So I don't want to hear
What
like, like, well, this is how you get into with this fraternity and you're near your area. And I'm like, nah, I kind of like the solo thing, but I'm glad I got people like you to talk to and shit. So,
Well, there's a button. There's like the registration number, and there's a button that registers when a member joins. So the pressure is always there from